Hey everybody, Pete Hendrix here, Hendrix Classics, and today I want to talk with you about fragrances and why we use the fragrances we do, what our philosophy is, what we're trying to achieve, and that and much more. So, when thinking about our goals and our philosophies and actions, what we really want to do is provide luxury at affordable prices. And in order to do that, you have to pick what's important. You have to pick where you're going to spend money. You have to pick, so many things. One of our goals, or one of my goals, is to be known for absolutely phenomenal fragrances. And I'll tell you a little bit about what we've done to achieve that. First, I'm very picky about fragrances. We don't do a release unless I think it's going to be widely popular. One of the things that always makes me crazy is if I pony up for a tub of soap and it's 25 or 30 bucks delivered, and then I don't like the fragrance. And so I very much do not want to be sending fragrances people won't like, so we try to describe them correctly, and we try to make sure that they'll be popular. I'm very picky about the quality of fragrance as well, and I can't tell you how many fragrances, hundreds and hundreds of samples of fragrances that have been rejected. And I just think it's important when I look at what I think the enthusiast community wants. I think they want awesome fragrance, great performance, and really cool artwork. And so, those are three areas that get a ton of focus. Making great fragrances is not a core competency of the US. The really good ones are made overseas, in my opinion. And so we've been able to find some good ones that are made here. They are less expensive, and you go through a ton of samples and you do find some good ones. And so Badass, Citrus Bomb, Hidden Goddess, those are all made in the USA. They are, and they're about 70 bucks a pound, which is something that you can certainly work with easily. There are fragrances that are less expensive, though. So I will also say fragrance is a racket. So there are, take Citrus Bomb. It doesn't cost that much. It's really, really good. So why should a high-end inspired by fragrance, cost so much more? Well, I don't think it should, and it does. And, that's kind of what we're faced with. Yeah, like I said, we haven't had a lot of luck with inspired by fragrances that come from the US. So I fully believe that we can purchase fragrances that are better than anything we can develop. Developing fragrances from scratch takes a lot of time and a lot of money. And I would rather spend that time improving and developing new products and new offerings, like the steel lather bowls and things like that. I believe that properly blending fragrances from scratch is difficult to the point that it needs to be done by people who do it full time and know what they're doing. And I want to purchase them from companies that do that and that focus on quality rather than cost. I have notes here, so let me just find out where we are. Now, there may be some folks out there who will take 2 or 3 inspired by fragrances and mix them and call that an original fragrance, and I guess it is, though that's not what I want to do. Getting a good fragrance in the moment is only the beginning, and that part isn't that hard to do. However, matching the quality of fragrance that are done by a team of highly trained and highly compensated individuals at these large fragrance houses, that's a whole different thing. And you have to test them. You have to see if it changes over time. There's just so much that goes into it. I just feel like, somebody needs to really know what they're doing to be able to match what is being done by these other companies. I've mentioned that blending fragrances does take a lot of time and money, and that time and money can be spent on other things. And so, touching back, and I've made this point once, I'll make it again, we want to have luxury products at affordable pricing. And so we have to make choices. So I would rather purchase these fragrances, which I think we would have a very hard time matching the quality of, and spend that time on other things. My belief is that not enough of the enthusiast market places value on a company blending their own fragrances to justify the time and effort. And there are people who do place that value. I just don't think it's a big enough piece of the market to let that be where the effort goes. So we've gone in a different direction than that of blending our own fragrances. For the ones, fragrances that are like fruit and some basic fragrances, those are not so hard. We don't do them, we purchase them. But when it gets to the real wowzers that people, flip out over, we have gone in the direction of high-end inspired by fragrances. So, Christian Dior goes and develops Sauvage, or J.P. Gaultier goes and develops Le Male Le Parfum. And then other companies will, I don't like to use the word duplicate because they never match, or seldom do they match 100%, but they can be really good, and they can be close. The fragrance aficionados and the enthusiast community, one common thing I see is that when they're looking at inspired by fragrances, they evaluate it based on how well it matches the original and really nothing else. And I don't think that's the way to look at it. Of course, now I don't get to tell customers what to think, but what I think is that even, few of them are going to be a perfect match. So evaluate them on their own and kind of consider the inspired by as a guidance. And look at throw. Throw is how far the fragrance goes. Look at how long it lasts. Look at, whether it changes over time. And I think those are some really important things. And the high-end inspired by fragrances do a good job with that. I've said this, and I think it's really important, so I'm going to say it again. I don't think we can match companies whose sole business is blending and testing inspired by fragrances if they're focused on quality rather than price. The extra premium and ultra premium offerings have fragrance oils costing $371 per tub or $669 per tub respectively. And this is opposed to a lot of the U.S. oils that are about $1.50 a tub. So to me, it's worth every penny to spend that extra money, and it cuts into our margin. We don't make as much on the soaps. There's a limit to what customers want to pay for a tub of soap. And if you get over the $25 point, sales are going to go down quite a bit. And so for us to sell the ultra premiums at $25, we make very, very, very little money on wholesale orders. And of course, as a business, we have to make a profit. However, it's worth it to me to have the lower margin on those because the fragrances are so good, and I want us to be known for doing fabulous work with the fragrances. That matters to me. I'll also say I found another supplier that matches the quality of the inspired by fragrances with pricing that is comparable to the U.S. And I am so very grateful for those. Now, what you'll get, Ladies Man is one of those. It's a phenomenal fragrance. Perhaps it was meant to be and inspired by, it smells to me like it belongs in the Polo family of fragrances, but I just like it so much. And for us, myself and Makala, who helps me with this, we like it better than any of the other Polo inspired by fragrances we have from overseas. So, very grateful for that. Another one, many of you may have, we sent about 100 samples of yet to be named, but oh so good. And that one's getting ready to be, go launch with our Pay Me, or Pai Mei, it's Pai Mei, with the launch, the Kung Fu launch coming up. So that one will be good. And I want to close with this point, which I've said before and I'll say again. One of my goals is to provide luxury at affordable prices. In order to achieve this, we spare no expense on what's really important and try not to spend on other things. Now, the extra and especially the ultra premium inspired by fragrances, they're probably comparable in cost to blending it yourself. Though we buy it, we don't have to spend a bunch of time developing it. I want to spend that on other things like the shade bowls, like the brush and razor racks that, will hold almost any size razor, and brush. The brush is what I meant to say. And, some of these other things that we're coming up with, the upcoming shave scoop, the, some of the things we do with Scent Your Own. I think that for the customers that they're trying to reach, I just think that we can do a better job purchasing fragrances than blending them from scratch. So that is this version of the life of an artisan. We'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments, and I'll respond to all of them. Thank you.